Let's talk now about interventions. In organization development, we intervene. We mess things up, we shake things up, we do interventions that are purposely designed to disrupt the status quo, the way things have always been done. So, the definition of an OD intervention is this: it's a set of sequenced and planned actions or events intended to help the organization increase its effectiveness. And there are lots of different kinds of interventions that we can do. But just so we're tracking with our overall discussion, remember the general model of planned change. So we've done the entering and contracting. We have a relationship with the client. We've decided what's going to be done. We've done some diagnosis to make sure we're on the right track. We've used one of the many different types of diagnosis tools we've talked about, or perhaps even a series of diagnostics. We've come up with a plan, planning and implementing change. This plan includes an intervention, something we're going to do that's going to change the organization from its current state to a better state. And then, of course, when we're done with that, we're going to go back and evaluate to make sure that the intervention we did stuck, that it worked, and that it achieved what we wanted to do. And then our very last step will be to try to institutionalize this change or make it stick. So today, we'll talk a little bit more about interventions themselves. So, with regard to organization development interventions, there are, broadly speaking, 4 intervention areas that we have to work with. The first we call the human process type interventions. Human process interventions, the kinds of interventions we might use might be coaching individual managers to do a better job, working with large groups to make them perform better, or small groups to have better teamwork, or changing in some way the way the organization works by using training and development, for example, focusing on those human process things. The second area is what we call techno-structural interventions. These would include stuff like downsizing the organization to make it more efficient and more effective, changing the work design for how we get stuff done. So let me give you a real-world example of a techno-structural intervention that I witnessed. In this particular situation, we're talking about a manufacturing organization. And the manufacturing organization decided that the way that it was handling the work, the way that the machine operators were working, the way the managers were working, the way the maintenance groups were working, was antiquated. And leaders felt that if we changed the work processes, the way we get the work done, that we would be able to get significant increases in efficiency. In particular, what we wanted to do was increase the efficiency of the way that maintenance works. So let me just give you like a kind of a big picture view. Imagine you've got this big machine. You have operators working on the machine. For time out of mind, here's the way it works. The machine acts up. It could be anything. It could be the slightest little tweak. So a bolt needs to be tight or something. Operator doesn't do maintenance. Operator gets on the phone. Operator calls maintenance. Maintenance says, what you need? Operator says, I need such and such. Maintenance guy says, I'll come take a look at it. Maintenance guy comes in, takes a look at it. Meanwhile, the operator goes, takes a break, has a soda pop, sits back, puts feet up, waits for the maintenance guy to do his or her thing. Maintenance guy takes a look at it, says, well, I'm going to need a certain kind of wrench, certain kind of stuff, goes back to the maintenance shop, gets that stuff, comes back, messes with the machine for a while, fixes it. And then, like magic, it's back, goes, gets the operator, brings the operator back, you're good to go. Maintenance guy goes back, waits for the next call. All right, so this work process we perceived as very inefficient. We said, well, look, first of all, a big percentage of the maintenance that is done on these machines could be done by the operator, him or herself, if we just took the time to train them on how to do the basic mechanical stuff, simple things. Then those things that really do require a maintenance expert, well, it would be a lot more efficient. Instead of just having somebody come in and figure it out and go back and if we taught the operators how to do basic level diagnostics on the machine. So the operator would say, hey, I've got a real situation here, and this needs such and such, so that before the maintenance guy ever comes, he would have a lot more information. Then we thought, hey, this work process would also be way more efficient if we had a computer system in place that would gather data for us. Because under the old system, all the knowledge that it takes to fix the machine resides only in the head of the particular maintenance people. So now with the new work process, what we will do is ask the maintenance people to enter what they discover each time they make a repair on a particular machine. So we build a database. So in the future, another maintenance person who maybe has never worked on that machine could look at the history of it and very quickly often come to the solution rather than have to go in and start from scratch. So we're building a knowledge base, we're increasing efficiencies, the machine is going to run better, it's going to make a more efficient product. Everybody should be happy, right? Right? Well, not right, because in this particular case, yes, our work process was beautiful. The design was fantastic, and we put it in place. If only we had robots working for us, it would have definitely increased efficiency by a huge percent. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, there's Sophie doing her job. We don't have robots working for us. We have human beings. That's good, Soph. That's good. You're good. So, human beings don't look at these kind of changes so kindly. For example, the operator saw this as a big bunch of more work that he or she has to do. Well, I'm not a maintenance person. There's pushback. That's the resistor forces. The maintenance person says, oh my gosh, this is a threat to my job. I mean, they're going to replace me. I have all the knowledge now, but now I'm going to have to share all this knowledge I've collected over the years. I'm not going to be indispensable anymore. And then both the operators and the maintenance people are now asked to use computers. Well, a lot of operations people who run big machines and stuff, they don't know a lot about computers and are not very interested in learning. So messing with this newfangled technology, whoo, big time pushback. So what looked like a sure deal turned into a nightmare. And the reason it did is because the organization development consultants, it wasn't me. If it was me, I would own up to it. It wasn't me. It wasn't my group. It was an outside group that we hired to come in and do this particular thing. They did not take the time to examine the level of readiness of the group, to customize the work processes to the needs of these particular different groups, to do the training, development, coaching, counseling, and work it would take to get those workforces ready. They treated the people more or less like robots. And guess what? This intervention, while not total failure, had a really rough start. And we actually ended up having to fire those consultants and bring in our own team to have them manage the transition from the old work process to our new work processes. So that's an example of a technostructural intervention, and a good lesson for anybody who's involved in organization development. Now, other types of interventions include human resource management interventions, and these have to do with work, all kinds of stuff like employee wellness and reward systems, pay systems, those kind of things. And the last intervention area, what we call strategic interventions, where we may change the way the organization pursues the market or other things that are on a strategic level. All right, so that gives us a kind of a flavor for interventions. They're a lot of fun. Some of them are very, very simple. Some of them are very complex. They could operate in any of these four areas, or they could cross over between the four areas. And once they're done, once that intervention is in place, then the next step, of course, is to let it run, be patient, stick with it, coach the people, work your way through the force field, past the big bad wolf, and then once you're there, once you think you're there, the last step, evaluating some sort of measure, some sort of diagnostic to see if you really got what you think you got, and then institutionalizing that change, making it stick. That's all for now.